So I thank you for being brave enough, to trust enough, to love enough, to discuss collaboration. So I will be sharing information with you that's already been presented to our board and also Burford's board. A lot of work has gone into this process, and it will continue should we choose to begin this new journey into collaboration. So I will be asking if you can hold off on your questions and comments until the presentation is done. So what will it look like? I think you've got a picture in your mind already. We're going to be sharing a minister, not a surprise. The specifics, though, are going to be presented in just a bit. We're sharing our spaces. We have a commercial kitchen. Burford does not, at least, not yet. And they do a lot of outreach involving cooking and baking, and they could use our facilities. And we've talked to them about this already. Sharing programs, like we have our new social quilting program, Bible studies, Lenten studies, and social events, and sharing anything else you can think of. We are looking at the collaborative covenant between Bethel Stone United Church Pastoral Charge and the Burford United Church Pastoral Charge. Now, this is a draft document, and it has been approved by both collaboration teams. Both boards are required to approve this document before you can vote on it. And as of yesterday, the majority of Bethel's board voted in favor of this document. Now, if you approve the document, it will be forwarded then to the Horseshoe Falls Regional Council for approval, and then once they approve it, we can begin our collaborative journey. So the next 3 slides are statements that actually introduce the document. We enter into this collaborative agreement that calls us to work together to create a ministry context that is faithful in its use of resources, and to pray and rely on God's grace and guidance for our minister and our congregations. We covenant to give our minister all possible support, listening carefully to insights and direction that emerge from this partnership, finding ways of meeting challenges and celebrating opportunities for service. As sister congregations in covenant relations, we commit to exploring ways of supporting each other and of building bonds of Christian community between us. Now here we go. We agree to the following. The Bethel Stone United Church and the Burford United Church Communities of Faith will share called or appointed ministry personnel for the purposes of worship, sacrament, pastoral care, and oversight of meetings related to congregational governments. Adrian will be employed by us on a full-time basis, 40 hours a week, with 20 hours per week being served with Burford. Now, the division of Adrian's time and her presence at each church, well, it might just vary week to week, but it is expected to equal 40 hours per week on an annual basis. Adrian's salary will continue to be paid through Bethel's ADP account. Burford agrees to pay Bethel 50% of her total salary, her benefits, government pension, EI, payroll costs, phone, etc., on a monthly basis. And the bonus, the treasurers from both churches have already figured this out. Any of Adrian's expenses and mileage are to be logged and are to be processed through each separate congregation. Say if Adrian is doing something specifically for Burford, they will be responsible for covering her expenses. So let's get into details. Now, these details have already been approved by Adrian and both collaboration teams. Burford's services will begin at 9:30. Now, they will continue to offer coffee and treats prior to their service. Our service will begin at 11. And I know that there are some people who aren't keen on the 11 o'clock services, but look at it this way. You have two options. If you want to get up a bit earlier, there's the 9:30 service for you. Or if you want to sleep in an extra 30 minutes, there's an 11 o'clock service for you. Same minister, same message. So when a month has 4 Sundays in it, Adrian is going to do double services for the first 3 Sundays, and the last Sunday will be a joint service. And the location will alternate each month. Now, with months with 5 Sundays, Adrian is willing to do 4 double services, and the last Sunday, again, will be a joint service. And the location will alternate between churches. Interesting enough, we usually only have 1 to 2 months a year with 5 Sundays. What is unusual, that as of November this year to November of next year, we actually have 5 months with 5 Sundays.
I didn't know that when I signed up.
I counted. It was really strange. Okay, bit more information here. So communion is going to be shared at our joint services. Special services like Christmas and Easter, well, we have to determine it as we go. We have to approve this collaboration before we can go there. And the plan is to have a yearly calendar created for you outlining the wheres and the when services will be. Summer months, well, for now, we're going to continue as we usually have been, doing for, it's been 7 years already. 1 service July here at Bethel, 1 service at Burford for the month of August. And to what time the service will be we haven't determined that yet. Should Adrian decide to change her routine summer vacation plans, well, we will have to be flexible. There were some congregational comments regarding music. There are no changes. Though the hymns and the anthems may vary between the churches, Burford will continue with their choir, and Bethel will continue with their music team. So we need you. We need to start looking at more lay involvement, as we've already started, with services here at Bethel. We can help out by reading scripture readings for Adrian. And if by chance Adrian is delayed getting to us from Burford, say bad weather, or as Adrian suggested, flat tire, or whatever, well, we can have a contingency plan in place where we as lay can start the service. Well, there are announcements, call to worship, and who knows, but it's something to think about. So there needs to be someone who oversees this collaborative covenant. It's just not going to be shelved. Hence, there will be a joint coordinating team created. They will meet as needed to monitor and review and make recommendations. Each church's board will select 2 congregational members to be part of this team, and of course, Adrian is involved. The ministry and personnel committees of both churches will continue to function independently, though they will need to meet together at least once a year. And we have to look at conflict resolution, just in case. So any issues that might arise in matters relating to collaboration are directed to that joint coordinating team, and they will consult with the appropriate congregational bodies and seek resources that may be helpful to resolve the issue. Each community of faith is responsible for arranging pulpit supply if Adrian's away due to vacation or study leave, illness, sabbatical, or any other type of leave of absence. And she is entitled to 5 weeks vacation, which actually equals 6 Sundays, 3 weeks of study leave, along with the spring regional meeting weekend. Big thing is, we're trying it for a year. There will be a review of our collaboration progress at the 6-month mark, which hopefully will be about April next year, and at the 9-month mark, which might be about June. This review will be done by the joint coordinating team. And after the 9-month review, if all is going great, then you will have the opportunity to vote to determine if we make this collaborative covenant permanent. And if at the 9-month mark we find that things are not going according to plan, and we as a congregation decide to withdraw from this collaborative effort, then we must give Burford and Adrian 90 days notice. So folks, that's all the information regarding the actual collaborative covenant. So today you've been presented with the information. Now, look at the document as being a fluid document for now. It's not carved in stone. We'll be learning as we journey, and there will be changes here and there, and that's okay. So now it's your turn to talk, because next week we vote on this. You will be voting on our future. And by the way, Burford congregation is also voting next Sunday. Do you agree with the collaborative covenant or not? That is the question. Voting will be in person only. Attendance will be taken. There will be no vote by proxy, no vote by phone, no vote by email or letter. You need to be here. And as agreed upon by both Burford and Bethel collaboration teams, there will need to be 67% approval in favor of the collaborative covenant. Because folks, here is our reality. It comes as no surprise. None of us are getting any younger. The number of congregation members who come routinely has statistically dropped, which unfortunately impacts the weekly givings, which directly impacts the ability to keep up with the increasing costs of utilities and maintenance, and of course, salary. Remember, we're giving this a try for a year. If it works, awesome, hallelujah. If it doesn't, well, we tried, and we go back to the way things were. Nothing is solidified in stone. This is a learning opportunity for each one of us. As to starting date, well, potentially could be the 3rd of November. So it's your turn for questions, comments, concerns. Now, I can't promise I'm going to have all the answers, because some of it we don't know. We're going to be learning as we go. There may be hiccups along the way, and that's okay. We will never know if we don't try. And I'd like to leave you with this most excellent comment from Dave, our short order cook and Annie's lesser half, as he puts it. Here is what he said. By Bethel Stone and Burford enthusiastically collaborating, we will all gain strength through being together united. And after all, we call ourselves the United Church, don't we? Let's hear what you have to say. Fred.
For all practical purposes, we have been working together now for quite a number of years. And I myself, I just absolutely love it when we get together with Burford. Okay? And I really think that this just makes it a little bit more formal. Okay? Now, I'll let you know, I am going to vote for it, because I think it's the best thing for them and it's the best thing for us. The only disadvantage is the 11 o'clock service. But when I first joined this church, that's the time we had. Okay? So it's a case of just getting used to it again. Okay? Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, Ian.
think, hello?
Yep.
I think that this is a wonderful opportunity for the two churches to share resources as well. You know, when it gets really, really warm out, maybe we'll be having our services in Burford. Nice air-conditioned sanctuary. And also, we have a wonderful kitchen in the hall that we would be more than happy to share with our brothers and sisters in Burford. So it seems like a win-win situation for everybody.
Oh, Sharon.
Ian, I thought you would tell everybody that they've already booked.
Oh.
They have booked, a Burford group has booked, and they're going to be doing their pies in the, I'm not sure which week. Do you know which week, Ian? That doesn't matter. But anyway, they have already booked our kitchen, which is good, because we know they'll be doing it in a certified kitchen. That's what I was looking for. Who's next?
Miriam.
My husband calls me Mary, quite contrary every day. I'm going to speak to you as chairman of the board, and I'm going to speak to you as having started as a parishioner here many years ago, and having been part of Burford Church as well, and a very, very big part of the choir for many, many years, and worked in the community for many years. I believe it is a win-win situation for us and for them. I'm not saying we're not going to have hiccups. I'm not saying that we're not going to have disagreements, because where there's two people on earth, there's always going to be a little bit of disagreement. But I do think it is a good opportunity for all of us, and I like the idea of the 1 year, which gives us an objective look at it and see if it actually is going to work for us. Because as a declining congregation, it's going to be difficult to keep going. And I believe, why get rid of two churches when we do not have to go that way? I've already been through this once, and they closed Harley, and they closed Fairfield, and they went into Scotland. Well, that church is now booming, but for how long, I do not know. But I would not like to see that happen again. And the ironic part of it is when they close the church, it's full. The last Sunday, everybody goes to church. So my point of contention is, why weren't they there before? And I'm a relatively newcomer to this church, in a sense. I know there's a lot of much older families in this church than me, but it's been a great place to be. And I think we can all work together. I think everybody's doing it already, from what I see. And looking around the room, there's so many talents that we can bring to the table, and Burford has a lot that they can bring to the table as well. And my heart's in their choir, because I was a part of that choir for many years. So hopefully we can get them here once in a while, and we can go there once in a while. We can all join together. I think it'd be great. That's just my opinion, and that's all I have to say.
Anybody else?
Would like to say anything or ask any questions? I'm sure there might be some questions to be asked.
I guess you can all hear me through this. First of all, thank you, Petra, for giving us such a complete. I don't think there's many questions, probably lots of comments. And I think it is a wonderful opportunity. I'm only concerned about the wear and tear on our dear Adrian. So if she can be honest and tell us if this isn't going to work, I'm okay.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Oh, perfect.
I just have a question that I'm maybe not seeing. Sounds
Yes.
great. I'm just wondering, have people identified any concerns that we should be cautious of going into it that we haven't seen or heard about?
And
We're hearing positives, and that's wonderful.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm not negating that. It's just, other than Adrian, and maybe we can look at the 5 weeks, 5 times next year that we can do something?
At present, there hasn't been any definitive negativity of things, but that might come as we are on this journey. But at present, there hasn't been a significant concern. Yes, there was lots of debate about the times of service, and there has been a debate about certain other items, but we've all resolved those already. So I think we all are in consent of the document and of everything we've thought of. There could be something we're totally missing. Time will tell, and that's about it. Yeah. Otherwise, I can't give you a concern at this moment.
That's good. Sometimes you don't think of things that you might have identified.
And hence, this is the discussion is there something? And even when I sent out the questionnaire that came out probably about 6-7 weeks ago, where we requested your comments, any concern was very similar, and most of the concern was about Adrian, as in her wear and tear. And almost everybody was very concerned about that. So we're leaving that up to Adrian, and she's the one who's going to tell us, I'm done. She's going to give us 90 days notice, just as we would give 90 days notice if something else wasn't going well and we want out and such. And that's about the best that we can do, at least for now. Yeah. Anybody else? Oh, Heather went. Oh, how about we just go next door first?
I guess I do have to ask the
Yes.
finance. I realize we won't know until we get into it, but by paying 50% of Adrian's salary, do you forecast that we would be in a better position financially?
That is the idea, that we will be able to sustain. We have to be able to sustain what we have, the resources that we have here and such. So that helps also with Burford. And we're hoping. We can't give a specific financial statement, except Adrian just had her hand raised up. Yes.
So over the past year, we have, salaries have gone up. So the United Church has kind of brought the salaries up to where they need to be based on the cost of living and the index, whatever that's called. And they promised that that's not going to happen again, but there's been a huge jump in salaries over the last 2 years. That's been difficult for a lot of congregations. We know that expenses have gone up as well. And we have had to borrow from our reserves to cover our deficit over the last year. We're hoping, and the United Church does not want that to happen. They want congregations and encourage congregations to be able self-sustaining through donations and fundraising. They don't want people, like if we pare down our reserves, in 5 years, they'll be gone. Mm-hmm. And then you're in a horrible position. So Burford has a lot of reserves as well, but they're in this exact same position. So this will help honor and be faithful to the resources that we have. So I think that's the ideal. Yeah. I don't have the exact amount we've borrowed. I'm not exactly sure, but it's been fairly significant, I think. Yeah, it's been about $25,000 we've had to take from our reserves. And if you're going to do that every year, you're not going to be left with much at the end. So, yeah. So this is one way to help with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're all aware of how much Bethel meant to Laverne. And if I'm going to make a few people sad, I don't mean to. But prior to Laverne's passing, he said to me, Heather, my biggest concern is not my health, but Bethel. And how are we going to continue? And if people don't step up and start contributing, we're not going to have a Bethel very long. Mm-hmm. And he said, and another thing, I know that Laverne is applauding this meeting today because Bethel meant everything to him, everything. Thank you.
Beautiful. Oh, Mary.
Just to address a couple of the concerns that were raised. Yes, we're hoping, as you said, that the sharing of the salary will help. We don't know that yet, and that's a legitimate question. And another thing that's legitimate is what, we can't foresee that things might happen down the road, or a few, as I said, hiccups will come. And they can be negatives, but I think we can work through it. The more we make the journey, the more we can work through it. And to address Adrian's situation, I'm sure if she's sick, some of us could step up to the plate. I have done pulpit supply before. It's been a long time. I was asked several times to do it in Burford. I could do that. I could volunteer. You probably would not ask me back again to do it, but anyway, I mean, I think we could do it. We could all take part in a worship service. I'm sure there's so much talent in this room. If she was sick or something, I'm sure we could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thought. And the other thought that I want to leave you with is when we talk about using our reserves, it can become, it's a dangerous thing to do, because that's exactly what happened with the 3-point charge of Scotland, Fairfield, and Burford. They used up their reserves, and then you had 5 people going to church, and they closed it, and it was closed for good. So collaboration is, in my thinking, and it's only my thinking, is a better way to go than to have amalgamation. Nobody wants to lose their church. Nobody. So these are just thoughts to leave you with. I don't know if it's helping, but anyway, that's just my opinion.
Thank you, Mary. Anybody else would like a comment? Okay, I think our meeting is now complete. Everyone goes home. Yes, voting is next Sunday. That's important. Thank you very much.